Thank you, Darrell, for joining the Business Corner with us today.
Very happy to be here.
Thank you. So I was excited when I called you to bring you on the Business Corner because I know you do a whole bunch in real estate. You know, you've helped me on a couple projects, and I really want you to tell the audience, you know, a little bit about you and some of the work that you do.
Well, for me, I am a real estate investor. I started buying property in year 2000. I was 18, and I just saw it as being an outlet, somewhere to give me some type of platform so that I don't have to work.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was always working South 14. So in my mind, I'm always afraid of losing my job. Some boss come in telling me I'm fired, something like that. So when I first got involved with it, my goal was to simply make as much as my job did.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. That was literally my goal. So I'm like, all right, well, if I can compensate that, I can at least, support myself.
Mm-hmm.
But as I moved forward with it, I enjoyed the freedom it gave me. The ability to do things when I want to do them, travel when I want, support my family, take care of my children. And, it afforded me to kind of invest in other businesses, take other lanes in business. And I met a lot of good people along the way. So I enjoy it.
Being in real estate has a whole bunch of ups and downs, has a whole bunch of challenges. So you were able to stay in this industry for over 20 years. What type of challenges did you face and how did you overcome it?
Oh, man, wow. Faced a lot of challenges. People ask me, like, how did I get so much knowledge? Honestly, from trial and error. Like, I remember early on in my career, I was taught, this whole, as they call it today, the BRRRR strategy, right? So you say, you buy a property, you, renovate it, refinance it, repeat, whatever the heck that means, right? So that's what they, advise people to do. That's what I did early on. And it literally almost bankrupted me because by the end, I owe so many people. I was in trouble,
Right.
because I would buy a property, district attorney's auction back then. I refinance it, pull out some money, buy 2 more properties, refinance it, pull out some money. Next thing I know, I had 17 mortgages, right? I ain't 21 yet. So I had all these mortgages. Then 2008 happens, market crash, right? Everything just up in fire. Tenants not paying me. And, I'm looking at everything. I'm like, wow, like it's over. And then I just asked myself, I'm like, well, if I don't pay these mortgages, what happened? Like, at worst case scenario, I just have bad credit, right? But so does most of America in this moment.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, well, it's going to be what it is. So what I did, I collected all of my rent and I started paying cash for property to offset the mortgages. So by the time the bank came and took some of them, I still had some left. But I learned a good lesson through that process. One of my banks, I was trying to do like a loan modification, right? Loan modification is when you agree to something with a bank, right? That's what a mortgage is. You agree to these terms. And if sometimes if you can't afford those terms, they'll modify your loan.
Right.
Usually like reduce your interest rates, give you some type of affordable payment. So I was going through this process to try to save one of my properties. And I remember talking to them and they was like, look, we can't do it. I was like, why? And they said, my bank said, we selling your loan. I said, well, can you sell it to me?
Yeah.
They was like, nobody ever asked that question. I said, well, can you find out? And they sold it to me. So I'm like, all right, well, how do I do that on purpose? So, hey, y'all got any more loans y'all want to sell? Because, I can buy those too. Because, that was a $50,000 loan that they sold me for $8,000. So in that moment, it kind of pushed my business forward because I understood how banking works. Not even from the borrowing side, right? From the lending side. And a lot of people have challenges. That's exactly how I buy property.
I love that. I think, one of the themes that I saw was about ownership and understanding that you don't necessarily need a loan in order to buy a property, right? A lot of times with real estate investors, we see that it's more so capital, right? So like how much cash have you saved? How much reimbursement that you get on the property that you sold. So what is the refunded amount? And I know a lot of the stuff, that we've talked about had to do with you not using a loan for some of those properties. So talk a little bit about the ownership of it and not wanting to owe.
So that experience scared me, having all those mortgages. I mean, mortgages was probably somewhere $600,000-$700,000 back then, right? That was a lot for me. I'm like 20, 21. Mm-hmm. That's, scary. And I just told myself I don't want to be in that space because I felt like I was working for the bank.
Yeah.
So I got to run these tenants down. I got to go try to get this money up every month. And then most of it I'm giving to them. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, well, I'd rather be them. Like they making, they making the money compounding interest and all that. And I'm like, well, I get out here, I got to buy the property, I got to fix it up. I got to get a tenant. Hopefully the tenant pays. It sucks here in Philadelphia, of course. They can not pay for a year and, you done.
Yeah.
So now, can you afford to pay this mortgage for a year if they don't pay you? So I just found other strategies to buy property, especially in the city. City's different than its surrounding areas. Montgomery County, Delaware County, places like that. Chester County. You don't pay your taxes in like a year. They're going to say, all right, well, you didn't pay your taxes.
Time to go to sheriff's sale.
Philly, you might be like 10 years out, So I run into people all the time. They like, I got tax, debt, and all this different stuff that's on their property. Or they got some tangled issue or some old discount mortgage that, our parents used to get back then, like to fix up the house or some consumer discount mortgage or whatever it is they have. And I would rather buy that property, get those people some money, and then I just solve the problem. Because solving a problem and having the information and understanding how to solve the problem can save me from actually borrowing money. So oftentimes that's what I do.
I agree. I think the problem solving is one of the things that, I'm excited about, especially with the new curriculum that you have. It's called the REI Commission. Right. And yeah. And so I want you to talk a little bit about that and maybe a little bit about the audience you plan on serving with that.
So the commission REI, I wrote it because I see a lot of information that's being, I don't even know what you want to call it, but it's a lot of information out here. Some of it's great, some of it's not. And some of it's just not complete. Right?
Yeah, and in the world of dissemination, we got to tell what's good, I get it.
It's very hard to decipher, who's telling the truth. A lot of people have a lot of popularity. I believe that a lot of these people are really giving good content, but I don't think they actually give their audience accurate information or truthful information.
Yeah.
Truth is, all I can do is give you information. I can tell you where to go find properties. I can tell you how to acquire them. I can tell you, like some formula to use so that you don't get beat on a property. I can tell you the correct price to offer someone for a property, but I can't give you my DNA. Like I don't know how to tell you how to get a seller to say yes. So the commission, what it does, it gives them a blueprint, if you will, like step-by-step strategy on how to acquire property and how to, either rent it. And most people who get involved in real estate, they don't have money to do that. Back when I was buying property, it was $2,500, $3,000, $4,000.
It's not that today.
It's no longer the case. Same properties are $200,000.
Right.
So they don't have that money to do that. But what they do have is access to their neighborhood, right? They have access to their neighbor. They know what's going on in the area. So it's like, okay, if these people coming in from New York or Russia or China, wherever they come and buy these properties, right? That's your neighborhood. So let's get control of that. How about you go figure out what Miss Mamie want for her property,
right? And
you sell it to them. But let's do it the correct way. Let's help Miss Mamie get out of her situation. Let's help her with her tax issues. Let's help her with her IRS issues. Let's help her with, like maybe Miss Mamie mom. She left Miss Mamie the property. Our people are notorious for not going through the probate process. So let's get that title untangled.
So is that what the commission is about? Is it a teaching, educational?
It's an educational tool to just give information on how to acquire property. Aside from using a real estate agent, that's what it does. And aside from having a boatload of money around, You know, like you don't need a boatload of money to be involved. When I was introduced to real estate, I was 15 years old. Spiritual father. He's like, look, walk around as you in your travels. You know, back then, at 15, I didn't have a car, right? So walking down the streets, like, hey, look, just write down all the addresses. If I buy any, I'll give you $500. It's like all the money in the world. I was sold.
That reminds me of the stories of handing out newspapers back in the day.
Yeah, definitely. Like I was sold.
So is the REI more so dedicated to the age group of 15 to 18-year-olds, or older adults?
Well, I would like for it to have 3 audiences, for lack of a better term, right? So I would love to deal with the youth, obviously. Yeah. So like some 12th graders who decide, hey, I don't know if I want to go to college. Like maybe college not for them, maybe school not for them at this moment. They're 18, right? So they just want to go make money the best way they can, right? So I would love to work with them because I think that real estate can help with a lot of different areas of business.
Okay,
because you got to deal with so many different people. I mean, you have commercial real estate that deals with like commercial space, right? So maybe someone wants, I don't know, hair salon, barbershop, a boutique, whatever it is that they want. Like they don't have to own that building to do that, right? So they can negotiate a price with the owner and then say, hey, hairstylist, you want to rent this from me? Right. And sublet it to them. They can do that without having a lot of money to do it, I would like to deal with people who re-enter society. I think oftentimes, we try to give these people jobs, right? A lot of them maybe just locked up, I don't know, selling weed, coke, whatever it was they did, robbing people, whatever they did, I don't know. But whatever it is, in that moment, like they understood how to acquire something and sell it, right? So I'm like, well, you take that guy and you tell him, I don't know, go work at McDonald's. Like, how long before you start something again?
Absolutely.
So, it's like, let's teach them how to develop a business, something, because real estate is only really just a commodity. That's it. It's no different than anything else. It's just the commodity. You can sell bottle caps or whatever they want to sell, right? It's just a commodity. And the last group I would like to work with is college students. They tend to be a little more mature than a high school student. Mommy and daddy not really there no more, hopefully, and it's something, they could put in their back pocket. So those 3 groups I would love to work with. So hopefully the commission, it can be in that space.
I love that. And I think, as we go into this digital divide where, everything is technology based, right? So it's, what I was inspired by, it's a curriculum that is willing to work, like it's pretty much for everybody. It's like for, those who want to get into entrepreneurship, those who need a second chance, and one who really probably just want to learn the business.
Right.
And so having that even as an app or, just online, I think it makes it a bit more accessible. I know for me, until I met you, I was always interested in real estate, but never knew where to go to find the right type of guidance in order to do the right type of real estate, right? And so I think that, these type of programs are so important where you don't have to pay thousands of dollars to get the resources, but there's a lot of things, like you said, out there that is like, hey, if you go to this course, if you take this class, you'll get something, you'll get a snippet of, if you pay the next course, you'll get everything. Right. So it's always like, a gradual step. So definitely appreciate that. And the one thing I did want to, probably ask you as we close out is, the legacy that you want to leave, here on this earth. Like maybe what is that like that it for you, that you're leaving, the wealth of knowledge and the understanding of how to, build generational wealth, how to stay invested and get invested. So what is that, that it for you?
So for me, I have 2 children, and my daughter is more of entrepreneurial spirit. My son, he's more, I don't know, I guess he's looking to find his way. But he's only 14.
I think he's a creative. You know,
he
anytime, yeah, he's a DJ. He loves music.
He
So
definitely loves music. He loves
he's a creative.
being a barber. He
Yep.
loves like all this different stuff. How he monetizes it is what's important to me.
Exactly.
So I try to leave that example, and same as such for everyone. Like I always tell people, I'm not a genius. I'm not some freak of nature or anything. I just started early, so that we could teach the youth, hey, start early. You don't have to wait till you're 28 to buy a house. Like you can enter an agreement at 18. That is the law. Like as an 18, you're an adult.
And that's something I didn't know.
You can enter an agreement. So let's take advantage of that. Let's take advantage of these opportunities you can have as an adult and start early. That way, you wake up 40 and, you can work when you want to work or not, if you do it the correct way. And I think in guiding them, leading them to that road, I think that you'll definitely find probably less crime, less issues with, people who out and just doing the wrong thing. I think a lot of times in urban communities anyway, the information is not available to them. So things seem so far away. And it's like, how do I get that? I only know one way. Because I saw a homeboy up the street, he got Benz, he got the watch, he got X, Y, and Z. So that's the only way that they learn because that's all they see. So me, I try to be myself, be in my own skin. I try not to walk around, all suited and booted so I can actually have these conversations with them. And in doing so, it's like, hey, listen, like this ain't what you have to do. Like there are other alternatives and you don't even need a degree for this. You just need to have good work ethic.
I love that.
Just have good work ethic. Get up, let's put our work in. Our parents, like back then they worked 40 years, right? For some company, organization. And that guy probably golfing, so it's like, let's put our work in now. Like, let's be good stewards over our money. Let's be good stewards over information. More importantly, like a lot of times, oftentimes we get information and we don't use it or, we hear it. And then after we hear it, we run into one hurdle and now we're done. Like, it don't work. Like, let's really, teach them that it does take work, like for anything. And I think that help with everything, personally.
Well, this was a very good conversation, and I know our listening audience is going to take this back and probably maybe apply it to their own lives. I know I did. Being in business for 8 years now, it has been a journey, but I think the real estate piece definitely piqued my interest to do a little more. So, very appreciative of that. So
Very proud of you for that.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for joining the Business Corner.
Thank you for having me.